Jaya Kopi Jana Vallabha Gibaradari Jaya Kopi Jana Vallabha Gibaradari Jaya Kopi Jana Vallabha Gibaradari Pijana Vallabha Gibaradari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamunatira Vanacharim Jamunatira Vanacharim Jamunatira Vanacharim Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Radhanath Radha Radhanath Radhe. Jaya Radha Radhanath Radha Radhanath Radhe. Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Gaura Hare Gaura Hare Gaura Hare Jaya Gaura Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya. Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Gurudev. Go Premanandi. Sri Sri Radhanath ki, Sri Giriraj Govardhan ki, Sri Gaurangama Prabhu Gaurahari ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Bhakti Vedanta Purports, Srila Vedavyasadev ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai Go Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaivam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nasta Prayasya Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavat Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Hare Krishna. So this morning we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 4, Text 24. Sati quits the body. Maitreya Uvacha It Yadvare Daksham Anudya Satruhan It Yadvare Daksham Anudya Satruhan Shita Vudichin Nisasada Shantava Sita Vudichin Nisasada Shantava Spitsvajalam Pita Dukula Samvrita Spitsvajalam Pita Dukula Samvrita Nimilya Drigyoga Patam Samavishad Nimilya Drigyoga Patam Samavishad Ityadvara Daksham Anudya Shatran Shitavudicim Nishashada Shantavag Spitsvajalam Pita Dukala Samvrita Nimilya drig yoga patam samavisha. Itvadvaradaksham manurya satruhum. Shitvudichim nishashada shantava. Spitsva jalam pita dakula samrita. Nimilya drig yoga patam samavisha. Prabhus. Maitreya vacha. Iti vadvaradaksham manurya shatran. Shitavudichim nishashada shantava. Vitvā jalam pita dukala samrita. Nimilya drik yoga patam samavisha. Maitreya vacha. Ityadvaradaksham manurya shatran. Shitavudichim nishashada shantava. Vitvā jalam pita dukula samrita. Nimilya drig yoga patam samasha. Bhataji's. Maitreya uvacha. Ityadvaradaksham manurya shatram. Shitavudichim nishashada shantava. Vitsava jalam pitatukula sambita. Nimilya drig yoga patam samavisha. Maitreya vacha. Ityadvaradaksham manurya shatran. Shitavudichim nishashada shantava. Vitvā jalam pita dukula samrita. Nimilya drig yoga patam samavishat. Maitreya uvacha. Maitreya said, Iti, thus, advare, in the arena of sacrifice, daksham, to Daksha, anudhya, speaking, shatruhan, O annihilator of enemies, shito, on the ground, udichim, facing north, nishasadha, sat down, shantavak, in silence, spritsva, after touching, jalam, water, pita dukula samrita, dressed in yellow garments, nimilya, clothing, drak, the vision, yoga patam, the mystic yoga process, samavishat, became absorbed. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Maitreya, the sage, told Vidura, O annihilator of enemies, while thus speaking to her father, in the arena of sacrifice, Sati sat down on the ground and faced north. Dressed in saffron garments, she sanctified herself with water and closed her eyes to absorb herself in the process of mystic yoga. Everyone repeat once. Maitreya the sage told Vidura, O annihilator of enemies, while thus speaking to her father in the arena of sacrifice, Sati sat down on the ground and faced north. Dressed in saffron garments, she sanctified herself with water and closed her eyes to absorb herself in the process of mystic yoga. Purport. It is said that when a man desires to quit his body, he dresses in saffron garments. Therefore, it appears that Sati changed her dress, indicating that she was going to quit the body given her by Daksha. Daksha was Sati's father, so instead of killing Daksha, she decided that it would be better to destroy the part of his body which was hers. Thus, she decided to give up the body of Daksha by the yogic process. Sati was the wife of Lord Shiva, who is known as Yogeshwara, the best among all yogis, because he knows all the mystic processes of yoga. So it appeared that Sati also knew them. Either she learned yoga from her husband, or she was enlightened because she was the daughter of such a great king as Daksha. The perfection of yoga is that one can give up one's body or release oneself from the embodiment of material elements according to one's desire. Yogis who have attained perfection are not subject to death by natural laws. Such perfect yogis can leave the body whenever they desire. Generally, the yogi first of all becomes mature in controlling the hair passing within the body, thus bringing the soul to the top of the brain. Thus, when the body bursts into flame, the yogi can go anywhere he likes. This yoga system recognizes the soul, and thus it is distinct from so-called yoga processes for controlling the cells of the body, which has been discovered in the modern age. The real yoga process accepts the migration of the soul from one planet to another, or one body to another. It appears from this incident that Sati wanted to transfer her soul to another body or sphere. Om Jnana Timarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumalitam Jaina Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jaina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunath Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Aripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyahevacha Patitanam Pavinebhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the story continues. The Mother Sati is very disturbed. We can see by the verses we've done already, she's very, very disturbed by the whole interaction between father, Daksha, who is the Prajapati. Prajapati means the progenitor of the universe. At the time of creation, he was endowed with some power, some Shakti to create, to increase the universe, the population of the universe. Therefore he got this name Daksha means one who is expert in procreation. Daksha, Prajapati Daksha. Um, and he had many daughters and I guess sons also. And Sati, at some point in her life, was the apple of his eye, was the pet. She was a pet as long as she lived in the household of Daksha with her parent and her sisters. She was the pet of the house. And she grew up in that kind of mindset that I'm generally, when you're the youngest, you are spoiled, isn't it? Right? You tend to be spoiled by your parents. You're the youngest. So she had that kind of freedom, I guess. But when she married Lord Shiva, then things started to sour, became a little challenged in so many ways. Daksha was always blaspheming Lord Shiva. And somehow she Sati tolerated all this, thinking that at some point Daksha will stop and come to some realization of his wrong thing. Then because Shiva to her is very, very esteemed. Is Prabhupada is Yogeshwara. Of course, we know him by different names. He is Ashutosh, is Patita Pavan, is Bhutanath. Bhutanath, he gives shelter even to the most crazy of creatures. Those in subtle bodies who cannot get gross bodies. And of course, even to drunkards and even to demons, he gives shelter. Some of the demons attracted to Lord Shiva. As in the Bhagavatam, we read so many cases of stories of demons taking shelter, asking Shiva for some benediction. We know of one very famous demon named Virkasura. Virkasura was a worshipper of Lord. He was Shiva Bhakta. And he was worshipping Lord Shiva. And he wanted a boon that whoever's head he touched must break into 1,000 pieces. So this was some crazy boon he wanted. And because Shiva is Ashutosh, he gets very easily pleased. So he said, all right, I'll give you that, not thinking the aftermath or what the repercussions will be of that. Then this demon performed oblations, and every day he would cut one piece of flesh and offer it into the sacrificial fire. Every day, one piece of his flesh. That was the... and then eventually he had no more of his body to offer, so he said, Jai Sri Sri Radharanath Ki Jai. So he offered his head he was about to offer his head, and then Lord Shiva intervened. And he said, my good sir, son of so-and-so, please don't do this. I will give you whatever benediction you want. And so he asked for that benediction of touching the head of whoever's head he touched. And immediately when he got that benediction, he looked at Lord Shiva because he knew Shiva had a beautiful wife and he was lusting after. So this is very demoniac. And immediately he went after Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva had to run for his life. And he was going all over the universe, to Brahma, and someone could eventually ended up in Vaikuntha. And he approached Lord Vishnu with this demon in tow, following him. And he told him what had happened. And then Vishnu very intelligently approached the demon and in a very nice way addressed him, my dear so-and-so, son of so-and-so, in very nice, polite way. And he said, you know this Lord Shiva, no one takes him seriously. He lies in graveyards, he bathes in ashes. And you want to believe what he says? Let's see. Let's test it. Let's see if this is true, what he's saying. And somehow he tricked this demon into touching his own head. And the moment the demon touched his own head, foolishly, Ganga Mai ki jai, he said burst into 1,000 pieces. And then Lord Vishnu rapped Lord Shiva. Said, don't ever give such benediction where you cannot recount it. Like same with Lord Brahma when he gave the benediction to Hiranyakashipu of being immortal. Of course, Brahma couldn't give him that benediction, but he gave him other benedictions. But he could not, and the Lord had to come in such a way to defeat this demon. So he said, in future, don't do these things where you cannot retrieve it, or you cannot neutralize it, sort of. Therefore, we see Lord Shiva is always in meditation on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And here he just says, Yogeshvara. Yogeshvara is also the Supreme Person of Godhead. He's the king of all mystics. He's the of all mystic yoga. So Sati, of course, Sati, the very name Sati means chaste. She's very chaste and loyal. In spite of hearing all this bad, negative things about her husband, she could have left her husband and went back to her father. No. She married Lord Shiva and she will stay with him, as the Vedic tradition says. Marriage is forever once. According to Vedic tradition. So she remained very chaste and loyal, and she could not stand the blasphemy of Lord Shiva by her father, Daksha. And Daksha, of course, was very proud, being the king, having all this power of procreation and whatever goes with the king or the kingdom. He became very proud of that naturally. So he was always chastising or blaspheming or calling Shiva funny names. Monkey face. In one, he called him, you're a monkey face. Imagine calling some derogatory remarks like that. So the final straw came, as we're reading now, when Sati goes uninvited to the sacrifice. Of course, she was throwing tantrums. And Lord Shiva knew what the repercussions going to be. He could see his past, present, and future. He knows if he's Yogeshvara. Is Trikala Kya. Trikala Kya. One who can see past, present, and future. They are known as Trikala Kya. So he was persuaded not to go. Don't go. but she insisted. Uh, um, Sometimes the um, women have this nature, don't fight with me, of being irrational sometimes. And they improper sometimes said, yeah, children are like children. They need to be protected. they they need to be protected. Yes. So Shiva was trying his best not to send her. But eventually she did after some arguments, and she left the house. But she didn't go alone. She went with a party. And of course Nandi, Lord Shiva was transporting. Bull was accompanying her. And there was a party with all Lord Shiva's associates were also accompanying her. You can imagine that. And they all went to this. Of course, when Daksha, as she's known as Dakshayani, she's the daughter of King Daksha. She entered and she saw that Daksha was very cold towards her. There was no warm, affectionate greeting or welcome. Although she was by her sisters and her mother, she was kind of given some welcome. But the rest of the associates of Daksha, they just kind of ignored her. And another thing she noted, that there was no place for Lord Shiva, or share of the sacrifice. And that also made her worry. What's happening here? There was no, this was like the last straw, seeing all these things. And she could not bear the cold feelings from her father. And then she, at this point we are now, where she's ready to take her life. What we may call nowadays suicide. Of course, in many ways, I was thinking of how people commit suicide. I was thinking of this group. In the 70s, there was China was raiding Tibet, and Tibetans are mostly Buddhists. They're very staunch Buddhists, and some of them would go on the street in a public place and set kerosene. In the public place would pour kerosene on themselves and set fire to themselves and just burn. It was some kind of protest against the Chinese who were kind of persecuting them, like what we see now in Russia. And what Russia is doing to, what's the other country? What's the other country called? Ukraine, thank you. It's good, get it on my head. Ukraine, yeah, similar, very persecution. So this type of what brought world, to and made them see, yes, this is terrible. So Daksha wanted to portray that kind of, some kind of feeling towards Lord Shiva, some kind of, by doing this, bring some attention to the atrocities, kind of atrocious behavior of Daksha. And wanting to give up her body means that she was naturally the body, she had a father, inherited that from her parents, that the genes and whatever goes with this human body, the psychology of thinking this is my father, this is my mother, this is my family, all that mindset. She wanted to give it up, just give it up and divorce herself from that. So this was and by the yoga process, Prabhupada discusses here the mystic yoga process is described in the Bhagavad Gita also, the Astanga yoga, or Dhyana yoga, Asta means eight, the eightfold yoga system, starting with yama, niyama. Yama, the prohibitions. Don't eat too much, don't eat. First is to be celibate. The first one has to be celibate, and after perfecting that, one can go to the next stage. Of each stage one has to perfect each stage to go to the next stage. Yeah, yama, niyama, and the sitting, of course, the asana, asana, and this is called asana, sitting, asana. One perfects that, and then pranayama, prana. One perfects that, and go on right to the point of samadhi. And by this yogic process, of course, it may take many years, but she knew the process. Yeah, Prabhupada is saying she could have learnt it from her husband, Lord Shiva, or she could have also inherited from being the royal household. She could also obtain it from there. So yeah. So Daksha was reproaching her father on many occasions because of his false prestige, and thinking that he was far superior, because generally the son-in-law, becomes subservient to the parent, isn't? But the etiquette of knowing that the position of Lord Shiva Daksha was ignorant of that, and because of this false pride and prestige, he became overcome or intoxicated by power, thinking, yes, I'm the most powerful. And Lord Shiva did not show me any respect when I came into the arena, and therefore he had a very low esteem of Lord Shiva. Like that. There was a similar incident when Lord Indra and Brihaspati. The Brihaspati is the spiritual master of all the demigods. And one time, on one occasion, Lord, he came into the arena, and everybody offered him, and Indra didn't. Indra didn't, and Lord Brihaspati noted that. And later, Lord Indra regretted, and the repercussions was so bad. The demons defeated the demigods. They lost. As a result, he lost all his power. So this is when one disrespects even the spiritual master. The spiritual master, one has to, every time you see, you have to offer if you see him 100 times a day, the disciple must offer his obeisances to the spiritual master. Yes. That is the etiquette, always. So he always remains in that of being the humble humility there. So he so Lord Shiva did not acknowledge the presence of Lord for some reason. He did not respect that or offer his obeisances or whatever, and Daksha became very angry, and that was the start of all the blasphemy. That. So we said, Daksha, that word Daksha means expert. Now in Vaishnava etiquette also we study the 26 qualities, right? And if you remember all of them, but one of them is called Daksha also. Uh, Being expert, uh, becoming expert in whatever we can, means of service, become expert pujari, become expert cook, expert kirtaniya, or expert in preaching and seeing how we can intelligently preach using that expertise. So devotee has, one of the qualities is that he has to be expert in all aspects of being Krishna conscious. But the name Daksha also, yeah, he's got that name Daksha. He was expert not only in procreation, but he was also expert in blasphemy. He became very expert at that. And therefore he had to face, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very outspoken about Vaishnava Sangha and not taking unholy asat Sangha Tyag. We have to renounce that association was not favorable for us. Therefore, looking at Sati's situation, she wanted to give up that part of association with the father and her family when she decided to sit in that lotus position and take her life and get another body, transfer herself from that painful memories of that, to become clean from that contamination. Because it said that when we associate with such, then it kind of rubs off on us. Bad association, asat sangha, that was not saintly. When we take that, then we develop those qualities also of becoming very materialistic and so forth, or blasphemy. When we commit blasphemy to other devotees, that means either we contaminated by some negative forces that we may unknowingly take association of, or we may willfully take outside association. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his discussion with Ramananda Rai said, what is the most painful thing for a devotee? What is the most painful thing? Is to leave the association of other devotees. That is most painful when he's out in the cold, after having the taste of being in the association of devotees, and due to some aparad. An aparad can be very serious, like it is said there in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, that one can lose his family, all his wealth, all his house, everything, when he becomes blasphemous. Yes, he loses everything. He loses everything. Therefore, we have to be very mindful and be Krishna conscious. Means we have to be so careful. Other day I was mentioning how this Krishna process is like a razor's edge. On Sunday when we spoke, like a razor's edge, and a razor is so sharp that if one lapse in concentration, you can cut yourself. Even if you're shaving for like 30, 40 years, there's always a chance that you will cut yourself. Right? You shave everybody's head. There's always a chance. You have to be very conscious of that. So spiritual life is also like a razor's edge. And sometimes we may say things like Mother Rukmini was yesterday very nicely mentioned, that our relationship with, especially among devotees, how we have to, sometimes we may say harsh things and not be conscious of it. Yeah. Or sometimes we may willfully say it. different ways of causing aparat. Yes, so many ways. Blasphemy. So this is the most dangerous activity. We see in the case of Junior Haridas. Junior Haridas was the associate of Lord Chaitanya, a sannyasi, in the renounced order. And one time they were planning to have a feast, so they went out, do madhukari. Sannyasis go out or brahmacharis go out and collect alms. They don't have money to buy it. They go out and beg. So he came back with some very nice boga and they cooked everything. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was tasting this rice and it was very fragrant. And he called her and said, where did you get this from? And Haridas said, I got this from a woman. You've been to a woman? And Lord Chaitanya became very upset. You took association of a woman? And Lord Chaitanya was very heavy with him, much to the disagreement of the others who were trying to protest. Lord Chaitanya, you were too draconian in your dealing with such issue. But no, Lord Chaitanya said, no, as from today, I don't want him in my association. And the devotee, he said, no, if you go on like this, I will leave this place. So eventually, Junior Haridas, he had to leave. He had to leave. And subsequently, he committed suicide. It is said that when a sannyasi is having difficulty with in the renounced order, if he goes back to, then he should take his life. That's how harsh it is. He should tie some rock and jump into a river and drown in that way. So this is what Haridas did. He committed suicide. Because he could not bear the separation from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He could not bear that. The point is, when we outside the association of it's unbearable. It's very. But somehow, if we come to the point of repenting, becoming remorseful, yes, I've come to realization. Yes, I've done some wrong. Now I'm suffering for it. And Krishna, as he says in Bhagavad Gita, apichet suradacharo. Very nice verse in 930. Even if one commits the most abominable, what can be most abominable? Killing your guru or killing a cow. That kind of abomination. Even if one commits the most abominable, still, because he's saintly, is situated in a saintly way, Krishna he says, I will excuse him as long as he becomes remorseful. As long as he's remorseful. And Prabhupada says in the purport how strong this material energy is. Maya is so strong that when we surrender to Krishna, that means we stop surrendering to Maya, because all our life, for so many lifetimes, we've been servants of Maya. So it's kind of war. We're waging war. It's like a war situation. Now in a war, there will be casualties. There will be certainly casualties. So because sometimes the material energy is very strong, it can overcome us, and we become victims. And we may, in the lapse of concentration of practicing Krishna consciousness, we may fall down, or we may leave Krishna consciousness. Because of the strong nature of the material energy, Maya. Because we were in a lap for so many lifetimes. And now she's not going to let you scot-free. Because Maya is also Krishna's servant. Isn't it? Daivisha Gunamayi, this divine energy of mine. Daivisha Gunamayi, Mama Maya Jurati. This divine energy of mine is very difficult to overcome. Krishna is saying like that. So she's going to put obstacles to test you, to test your resolve, your commitment. She will test you constantly. And we should always be conscious of that. That not that because we're living in a temple, nice temple, we're chanting, we're rising early in the morning, that we're free from Maya. No. We're always in Maya. We're always confronting Maya in so many ways. Maya is always there. We joke about that. Maya, we may go on holiday. Maya doesn't take holiday. 24/7, 365. She's always there around us. So we can never be. But we can be Krishna conscious in that way. Maya somehow will offer obeisances when we see that devotee is determined. Vaya satmika buddhir hekaha kuru nandana. One with a one-pointed resolve to become Krishna conscious. Yeah. And Maya will offer obeisance to such a person. But if we lackadaisical, we're on the fence, then she will always kick us. Always. And we experience that, isn't it? Maya lapse in our practice of Krishna consciousness, or the desire to commit some offense, whether willfully or in the mind, thinking about it, or in active action, striking somebody, especially a devotee of the Lord, or seeing somebody in a demeaning way, seeing externally so these all will not please Krishna. Yes, Krishna. Krishna doesn't mind if you come an offense to him, but my devotee, he will not stand that. He will not tolerate that to his devotee. Therefore, we see in this whole episode here is about a graphic case of Vaishnava aparad. This lesson of Daksha and Lord Shiva, and then we can take cognizance from that and be more conscious how we practice our Krishna consciousness. So thank you very much. Is there any questions or comments? Yes.
Hare Krishna. My question is around this fire of sati. I thought it was interesting because I always thought she entered into fire, but like in the text it says she burst into flames. Yeah. So it's like that yogic meditation fire. And I was wondering whether it's like anger based, because like it's hard to think of a yogi who goes into meditation where you have to automatically be above emotions, and then to achieve that stage. And in the text after this, Prabhupada does say that her anger for Daksha was there. But Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj was mentioning in a previous class that it can't just be emotional, because otherwise you can't reach that yogic stage if you're just on the emotional platform. So I thought I was wondering, what state of consciousness must it have been?
Yeah, she was like, the challenge was there because but Prabhupada also said she had to give up that whatever connection. So she was gravitating to that, and it's the mixture of all these things. Of course, the yogic practice and mind and all that it's a collaboration of all these things was there. Yeah. And yogis also, a mystic yogi can leave his body as Prabhupada, that at any time he's not controlled by they can manipulate the material energy, And if you read Radhanath Swami's book, he came across some yogis. You cannot tell their age. They were like over 200 years old. How are they living like that? So yogis can, the Asta cities, perfection. They can climb on the sun rays and reach the sun planet. They can touch the moon while sitting here. Amazing things. Walk on water, isn't it? Go through a keyhole. That's small. There was in the 50s, there was a very, well, it was like a magician, we call him. Houdini. You must have heard of Houdini. Houdini. They would put him in a trunk. He had some kind of, put him in a trunk and another trunk and another, and chain it and throw it into the ocean. And he would come out of it. So these types of, and this was, I remember it was in the newspaper. I was small and it was Houdini. So they use that cliche, you did a Houdini on us, you just disappeared and appeared. Like that. Of course there's many other, there's David Copperfield, right? And there was Uri Geller, and you could bend, you could stop a watch just by, you could bend spoons and forks just by his concentration on that. All but recently, not so long ago, David Copperfield was on television. They were showing you how he walked through the wall of China, and there was another, how he made a whole jet plane disappear. Because this is all part of mystic yoga. And probably whatever the yogis can do, the scientists have emulated them. It's no big deal. It's all on the material platform. The yogis have, the scientists, they've manufactured ships that can float on water, airplanes that can fly in the air, and they can go through mountains, channels, like they built this from Calais to Dover, this underground railway line. You know this? 22 miles across. You don't do this in geography in school. No. There's a railway underwater. You can go from Dover to Calais in France, from England to France. Underwater is 22 miles across. I'm sure you'll know that. Yeah, it's there. Underwater, they built this thing. Yeah. So it is like that. Whatever the yogis, the scientists have, it's not some great thing. It's like all on the material platform. But the greatest Prabhupada said is that we can change somebody's consciousness. Isn't that is the greatest, being the greatest bhakti yogi. Of all yogis, yoginam api sarvesham. Krishna, he summarized that chapter in the end. Yoginam, of all yogis, one who abides by me with faith and worships me, he is the most. And he says, that is my opinion. He gives his opinion. That is the most. A bhakti yogi. So, you all are bhakti yogis, and you are greater than any yogi. Because you can change people's heart and save them from birth, death, disease, old age. Hare Krishna. Anything else? Grantaraj Srimad, sorry. One more.
Hare Krishna. I was just thinking on the point that Rukmini was making. Like the yogi, he's conquered like senses and the mind, but his false ego is still there, which means that he's still under the dictation, whereas as you were saying, the bhakti yogi is greater because we're conquering our false ego. We don't need to conquer all the lower things first.
Is it a question or a comment?
No, just a comment.
Oh.
Just a comment.
Yeah. So, yeah, this chapter is amazing. Also, Brihaspati and Indra, that in the 6th canto, that is also very nice. Vaishnava Aparad. With his own guru, he kind of disrespected, and there was repercussions also there. Huh? Durvasa, yes, Durvasa Muni and Ambarish. So many lessons are there for us to take cognizance of. Thank you. Karan Srimad Bhagavatam ki Srila Prabhupada's Transcendental Purports ki jai. Go Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol.